Hey everybody, Mah-Dry-Bread here. Pokemon Fire Red with Ralts was a strangely lopsided run. Let's follow that up with another really fun one. Today's the day that we figure out would I be able to beat Oblivion with only Conjured Equipment. So Conjured Equipment is something I don't use much when I play casually, and I bet you didn't use it much either. Probably because you weren't very inclined to use Conjured Weapons when they usually only last under a minute. You don't have the time to cast all of your Conjured Gear spells, then do the actual fight. Still, that Bound Sword spell is looking pretty strong. I bet I could make some fun custom spells in this run. Also, my friend Gooset did his own Oblivion challenge with Conjuration a while back. Not the same rules, but it's a fun run, so I recommend you check it out. Like always, I'm writing the script as I go through with the challenge, so all this part is being written before I've started. Everyone comment down below and guess if I can win or not. I think that I can do this, but that is gonna take some creative solutions. Let's explain the rules. We're only allowed to use Conjured Equipment outside of quest mandatory Bands of the Chosen, of course. We can only deal damage with Conjured Weapons or our fists, because chances are we're gonna accidentally punch a guy while our weapon is unbounding. Lastly, I'm not allowed to use any mods that affect gameplay. Also, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more. Let's do this. So let's start with the character creation. First for the race, I picked to be an orc since our conjuration will raise pretty fast no matter what, but our physical skills will need the help. Next, for our class, I just tag a bunch of major skills that we would only end up using specifically to level up. We're probably only going to level up once this whole run, so I want to make sure that we get a lot out of it. Lastly, for the star sign, I went with the warrior for strength and endurance. I've hardly used bound equipment before, and I don't have high hopes for its ability to keep us alive. So our first step is just getting a conjuration spell since we don't actually start with any. First, I go to Edgar's discount spells and pick up the basic bound dagger spell. It only lasts 15 seconds and the dagger sucks, so I don't exactly have high hopes. So the first thing I do is hang out in town casting our new dagger spell over and over to get some skill. Conjuration's actually really fast to grind once you get access to custom spells, but we don't have nearly enough money to get that started yet, so this'll have to do. The higher our conjuration skill is, the less magicka is gonna cost for us to summon our equipment. Right now we can only summon our dagger twice from a full bar of magicka, so that's gonna have to improve. Once we hit 25 conjuration, I decided to just go do some basic dungeons to test our dagger spell. It seems like it does a pretty good job of cutting through basic vermin like imps, but it does run out pretty fast. 15 seconds isn't very long to get to use the dagger, and the fact that we're wearing no armor because we don't have any to conjure yet has me pretty worried. Let's give the first Oblivion Gate a try and just see what happens. First though, do you see that? Not the mud crabs that keep attacking me, the fish. I've never seen this happen before. Huh. Well, I guess I'll fight these bandits while I'm over here. They ended up being pretty easy, so it's nice to get some easy blade skill. Did you see that? That's another one. I'm gonna go ahead and chalk all these fish spawning up on land to glitches, because Oblivion. Anyway, the Oblivion Gate. Right away, I went ahead and saved the guard that you find in here. Often I don't bother with him since I can just run my way through the gate easily. I wanted to try and fight my whole way through here though, so I got backup. He didn't end up being super useful outside of taking some hits for us, but what might surprise you is that he survived the whole way. It was especially easy once we got inside the tower because the more humanoid Daedra may look like they have thick armor, but they go down way faster than the other enemies here. Our little conjured dagger took them out with no problem at all, to the point where I was just taking my time and collecting all the loot I could. The sooner we can afford to make custom spells, the sooner we can really have some fun with this run. With that done, we clear out the courtyard and find Sean Bean, fast travel to the abbey that's under attack, this time without that crazy graphical glitch, and Joffrey here wants us to go to Skyruler Temple.
Hail, Dragonborn! Hail, Martin Septim! Hail!
Yep, still sounds terrible. So anyway, I knifed a dude in the bar in cold blood. Boris loves it.
Good work.
Gotta love that 40 gold fine. Dude didn't even get to transform before we took him out. No one knows he's in the Mythic Dawn cult but us, and it's still just 40 gold. The next part of the game with any combat is in the sewers, although Boris fights just about everything here till the final room for you. I'm in an awkward point of the game right now where I kinda want to spend some money on getting better conjuration spells, but at the same time, that'll delay us getting access to custom spells, and once we have those, we can easily max out our conjuration and make some genuinely useful magic. Maybe if our fight with the sponsor goes badly, then I'll consider buying new spells? At the sponsor fight, we pretty easily blitz him down before the guard arrives and get the book that we need. On our way out, we ended up fighting the guards anyway, and although it wasn't too bad, we probably could have died if not for Boris being alive. I don't think we can raid the Mythic Dawn base without better spells. So I do something totally different. I go to Miskarkand. I know, this is like 6 main story quests early, but I actually have never tried to go here early before. What happens? Can I just get the Welkin Stone early? Well, I'd love to find out, but it seems like our summoned dagger does almost nothing to the zombies in here. We get a lot of skill from fighting them, but there's no way we could actually clear the place like this. Maybe I could go do another dungeon. Close by, I found another place called Talinque, and this one was actually loaded with weak bandits and regular Welkin stones. The bandits aren't tough at all, and all of these stones sell for a lot of money, so maybe we can get those custom spells soon. We ended up clearing out the entire place, although there was nothing too interesting to show you. Plus, it's super dark in here. I can hardly see what's going on. It's times like this that I kind of wish I could equip a torch or maybe use like a starlight spell, but I think those are technically against the rules, so I chose not to. Thanks to all the loot we got in there, we could finally afford the candles we need to start making some spells. After that, we buy the Summon Skeleton spell so that we can make a custom one that lasts for only 1 second. This is an amazing way to train because it costs so little magicka that we can cast it forever, and because we gain the same experience every time we cast a spell regardless of the cost, this means we can just weigh down the casting button and get to 100 conjuration. And trust me, we're gonna need to, because if we want to summon some real armor by the end of the game, we're gonna need to make sure that these spells are as cheap as possible to cast because we don't have much magicka. The more skill we get, the bigger discount we get on casting. It took 33 minutes, but we got up to 100 conjuration. During those 33 minutes, I made this video with my kitten, Sabu. Hi, Sabu. Look at the camera. Yeah, look at that. That's your face. Well, yeah, that's me. You can also see me over there. Yeah. I think he hears a goose outside and... Oh. I know, the camera's crazy, right? Oh, he's trying to... He tried to curl up in between my arms because they were out in a circle holding the camera on the floor for him. After that, and a lot of looting for money, I went around and started buying up all of the bound equipment spells that we care about. Even the garbage ones are still reasonably useful here, since the idea is that we can make our own custom bound equipment spell that will fully suit us up, so that we don't have to waste 15 whole seconds doing each piece of armor one at a time manually. So this bound sword is one of the stronger weapons in the game by base attack. Sure, it's not as strong as a lot of enchanted weapons, but it's still pretty good. I also got bound bow, so we'll have a ranged attack in case we need it. Still, even with maxed out conjuration, this bound sword spell costs 70 magicka, and we only have 60. We'll have to level up once anyway, so let's get it out of the way. At the level up, we take strength, willpower, and intellect. This was enough to get us to 70 magicka, but our bound sword only lasts 15 seconds. 15 seconds of high damage for our whole bar of magicka just isn't gonna cut it. Maybe I need to use a weaker spell. After picking up the mace and axe spells, I decided to make our first full suit spell. To keep the costs low for now, I decided to go with armor in every slot and a one-handed axe for 30 seconds. This should be cheap enough that we can afford to recast it every time it runs out. The axe is only a bit stronger than our dagger, but any upgrade is an upgrade. Plus, we're an orc. I believe we have some kind of bonus towards blunt damage. I gotta say, I'm feeling pretty good about the Mythic Dawn cult all of a sudden.
Then you have come here to die.
Alright, this is gonna be fun.
You cannot escape.
We just cleared the whole room in under 30 seconds. I've played Mario Party minigames longer than that. Right, so after completely obliterating the Mythic Dawn cult, we're sent off to deal with the spies in Bruma. This part of the quest has no real danger, but as I came back to the runestones to take out the second spy, they weren't there. Then suddenly, I get the pop-up saying they're dead. Alright. I guess they picked a fight with the town guards or something. Alright, it's vampire cave time. This place is pretty rough. Vampires are hard enough to fight normally because they're so loaded up with spells and effects, but having to time out when our bound gear will disappear is pretty difficult. Often I find myself failing to block moves because I'm too busy glancing up at the top right to make sure my gear isn't about to disappear. Well, thankfully, we never ended up having to do anything too cheesy since we can take out any one of them one-on-one pretty well, but it was still rough and we did have to drink a few of our health potions. After that is the Oblivion Gate, and this one is pretty easy since we have Captain Bird with us. Normally, we let him do most of the work, but our equipment is actually pretty good for this gate, so we fought alongside him the whole way. Next up is the Ghost Dungeon, Sancretor. You might remember this from our Fists Only run, because this place was a nightmare, because although we can't punch ghosts, they can still block doorways. Well, our summit equipment can hit ghosts, so I make sure to clear out every single ghost that got in my way. Fun fact, I had to do this entire dungeon with only one health bar because we had that super fun glitch where the game says that you can't wait when enemies are around even though no one's here, so we didn't get any free healing the entire dungeon. As I left though, we instantly got swarmed by 2 skeletons, and the moment they went down, we could rest again. I guess they were aggroed on us, but got stuck coming through the door. Oblivion never ceases to surprise me with the ways that it will break. Right, so we finally have to go back to Miskarkand. This place wasn't all that bad other than getting lost a lot. The X spell seems to be strong enough that we can fight 2 zombies per cast. The boss fight had me pretty worried though, since I didn't know exactly what spells he knew. Turns out he knew how to dispel our equipment, probably the most dangerous thing he could do. Because of that, we had to run away quite a bit while recovering our magicka, just to use our axe a bit against the zombies before inevitably losing it again. By the time the zombies were down, we just rushed him into a corner and beat him down with our fists. If I can't use bound equipment, then I'll beat him with no equipment. That was actually easier than I expected, to be honest. Especially considering our hand-to-hand skill is awful. Next up is the final Oblivion Gate. This time I decided to just see how well they could handle the first chunk on their own. They actually almost got completely destroyed for once, but the second the big gate opened, I just ran in. The Emperor never died, so we never failed. Once inside, I started making a bunch of risky jumps to try and get to the tower as fast as possible. I'm sure this isn't the best path, but we've got no gear and decent athletics and acrobatics, so let's take advantage of that. In the tower, I tried not to pick too many fights since we can't heal for free, and I need to save healing potions for the final battle. I did decide to fight one of the tougher Daedra here just to see what it would be like, but I totally regretted it. They hit really hard, have lots of health, and can cast healing magic. Not a fun combo. I ended up just hardly making it to the top of the tower while giving everyone I could the runaround. As I got out of the portal and went to go help clean up the last few Daedra outside, a rogue horse randomly starts attacking me. I don't want to fight it because I'm one hit away from death. I don't want to waste healing potions, and I can't rest to heal with a horse mauling me. Eventually, Sean Bean joins in to try and save me from this crazy horse. How insane is this visual? I'm a naked orc running away from a crazed horse as the Emperor of Tamriel tries to save me with a tiny dagger. Eventually, Sean Bean just wanders off and I get to the city gates. The guards don't even try to help me, so I just get inside. It lets me finally rest, so I go back out to fight him, and he's perfectly calm now. Huh. Well, I'm not one to hold a grudge. After that, we have to finally conquer Paradise. Let's see if we can do this without making any new spells first. In the garden, it isn't too bad overall. Gotta fight these raptor things, and oh hey look, heavy armor skill. Right, the raptor things aren't too hard as long as we're careful to block their headbutts. If they make us stumble, we can take a lot of damage though. This time for the guard at the end of the garden, I just attack him before we even start talking, so he had less time to draw his weapon. We could hardly see anything most of the fight because of his fire effects that he puts on us, but he really wasn't that bad. I think he went down faster than one of the guys in the previous Oblivion Gate, in fact. The grotto was just amazing, though. We have to wear the Bands of the Chosen here to progress, so when I cast my armor spell, the game yells at me about the bands. Then I go to fight the enemies in the room, and they just back up right into the lava. Guys, I get the feeling that we don't need to band together to stop the Mythic Dawn. They're too dumb to stay alive on their own. After that, we take down a few raptors and get to the exit, but it won't let us out. The game actually seems to have bugged out, because I am not only not wearing the Bands of the Chosen, but I can't equip them now. Something about using the bound equipment overrode it, doesn't let me put it back on, and that means I am trapped in the lava room in the grotto forever. It's a good thing I always make a backup save right before I go into paradise. I've now soft-locked both Oblivion and Fallout 3 in the final rooms of the game in, what, the last 3 or 4 months? Oh my god. On my second time through, though, I just used the spell for the axe and not the armor. We get through without too many issues, but I have to be really careful about dodging, because even blocked shots do a lot of damage to us without our armor. Once we get to our cultist buddy, though, he takes off the handcuffs so we can properly use our suit of armor again, and not a moment too soon. There's tons of these raptor guys bunched together, and I don't think I could have fought these guys in a group without armor. Why is this guy the weakest one here? Next up is the final boss fight with Mankar Cameron, but this time instead of following his kids into the boss room, I just jump them outside to see if we can keep them from joining in the fight. We take them down super fast, so I'm feeling good going into this fight. Make your final guesses on if we can beat him or not. Let's do this. First, we just tried to suit up and blitz him as fast as we can. We tried to take him down early by drinking a strength potion, but quickly I started hearing more voices and realized that Mankar just summoned his kids again, so we're outnumbered. Even with us chugging health potions the whole fight, we went down pretty fast. Second try, and I used the bound sword instead, since it's the strongest bound weapon. But even with that, it seems like Mankar heals up so quickly that all it takes is him being in control for a second to undo my damage. I ended up having to summon my axe again just for the sake of keeping on him. I walked into this fight with about 25 healing potions, and I actually ran out by the end, and we still couldn't take him down. I think I'm gonna have to change my strategy. Third try, and I decided to suit up with my armor, but just lay in with punches and see what happens. He actually blocks the punches far less and tends to get backed into a corner easily. I kinda get the feeling that his kids' pathfinding is bugged out because they don't end up getting in the way much on this attempt. Anyway, after laying in about 100 punches, it seems like he's always gonna be just out healing us. So I crack out the bound mace spell that we haven't used up to this point, and just hammered him in the face until he eventually didn't heal in time and we took him down. That was way harder than expected. With that all done, all we have to do is escort Sean Bean to the Temple of One, and that's normally easy, but we hit a little snag. His pathfinding broke and he just didn't walk through the door. Yeah, seriously. That means I have to run into the next area swarming with Daedra, with almost no backup, run up to Dagon to activate the dialogue with Sean Bean, run back to talk to him, tell him to follow me, then lead him right past Dagon again to the temple. It took a couple tries, but after doing that needless busy work, Martin transforms and saves the day, marking the end of the game and another successful Oblivion run. That was a really fun run. High quality Bethesda moments, some close battles, that was a good time. I hope you guys like that run. For next Saturday's challenge is back to Pokemon with Pokemon Red with only Ekans. As always, I'm looking forward to your suggestions in the comments, on the challenge request section of my Discord, and on Twitter. Subscribe, ring the bell, stay tuned. If you want to see me do more challenges like this, please let me know in the comments or on Twitter. I can always use more ideas from you guys on what I should do next. Also, check out the playlist in the description if you want to see all the challenges that I've already uploaded. Also, come to my Twitch TV streams and tell me that this video sent you. It's always cool to hear how you found the channel. Thank you everybody so much for watching, and until next time, have a nice day.